Cold blue, cold blue, undefeated. Facebook, y'all got to give me my stickers back. I need my undefeated stickers. Crystal balls in the chat. Bergonzi and Robert Saleh and company are not sitting on their hands. I literally called it before I got sick. I said, I don't think T Sweat is gonna be safe. I said, I don't. Does the trade change the draft board? Yes, it does. Let me tell you why. When I was showing y'all how I was gonna set up my draft board and all the things that could change, I said I wouldn't be surprised if T Sweat get moved, because I know the Tennessee Titans like Franklin Myers, and Robert Saleh's defense is gonna have more attack style than just run stuffers in the middle. They're gonna be able to play inside out. I've been kind of saying that's why I like Ruben Bain on my draft board, because I think he's a scheme fit over David Bailey. With Femi coming back. So as soon as you see them come back, I said if the Titans go after an edge in free agency, they need to go after somebody young who's coming into their second contract that was a high draft pick. Jalen Phillips. I started naming people, but I didn't name. I had Kayvon Thibodeau on my board, but it wound up being somebody else from New York. The Jets, not the Giants, and it's Jermaine Johnson getting traded in a rare win-win straight up trade, because we all like T Sweat. He's a huge guy. He's nimble for his size, but in this defense, we all worried sideline to sideline will he be just a liability sitting in the middle. He would be a two-down player if he didn't cut some weight. So coming into this year, by them cutting Cushenberry on a physical designation, and then by them moving T Sweat, it's kind of letting you know exactly the direction that they're heading in with this defense. So that's definitely a change to the draft board, because Titans can make a couple more moves like this with the amount of draft picks they have and money still free. This is a situation where they could go into the draft. Like I've been saying, if Mendoza goes and Bain and Reese go 2 and 3, you don't have to take David Bailey now. Jordan Tyson's not healthy enough for the combine. You don't have to take Cardinell Tate. You could trade back if you like other receivers in the late first or second round better than him. If you want to go Caleb Downs, now that you've moved Xavier Woods out the way, you could go Caleb Downs if you wanted, and put Kevin Winston specifically in the box like Eamon Warrior. Like I said, that they really put themselves in position that any direction that they want to go, they'll go. And that's exactly what you need to do. You don't need to be forced in the draft in a position of need. You need to be able to take best player available. And now, if the intention is receiver or defensive back or best player available, Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love, they can feel comfortable to do it and not be held hostage by what the Jets, who have 2 first-round picks, and the Cardinals do in front of them. Because the Cardinals is a wild card. Like, nobody really knows what the Cardinals are going to do up until mid-March, when they decide whether Kyler Murray is their quarterback or not. Who is our coach? Robert Saleh, with Brian Daboll running the offense. That's a good question though, Q. I do think it changes the draft board though. When you look at this and saying, y'all remember last night when I said I think they bring in Franklin Myers and leave T Sweat as the rotational nose tackle. They just felt like they could bring somebody else in to play that run, step, and roll and give value. Where Jermaine Johnson, if we extended him at his age, would be probably around the range of what we was playing Arden Key. I don't think he's going to be one of those that's going to break the bank. And he's that 6'5", 260 pound prototype that they was looking for. A bigger guy that can play inside out. That's why the original person I thought, remember back last year when the season was going, before the Eagles got Jalen Phillips, I was like, he's the one to watch, because he kind of fit more the style of where I think they want to go in the future, with those big physical ends that can still shed and get off and go sideline to sideline. It sounds like if the Ravens trade back and take Denzel Boston. Yeah, I like Denzel Boston. I think I think he's that Drake London type, physical body receiver, strong at the catch point. So this is definitely shake things up. Smoothie, aka John McCavitt, Chronic fan in the building. What up? This is definitely what I wanted to see though. Cushenberry gone, Xavier Woods gone, making the move T Sweat for Jermaine Johnson, alleviating one part of the need for what the Tennessee Titans want to do in the future up front on defense. And you heard Mike Bergonzi on stage saying that cornerback, edge, and wide receiver, there's some depth to those positions in this free agency period, and he just showed why. And you know, I look online and I see people that the Jets fleece the Titans or the Titans fleece the Jets. Like, this is one of those rare times that I've seen in recent memory where I feel like both teams got exactly something they needed, because the Jets, since they traded Quentin Williams, needed a big block eater in the middle, and that definitely T Sweat is definitely that. He definitely is one of the reasons why Jeff had the year he had, and why definitely Cedric Gray had the year he had, because he keeps your linebackers clean. For whatever anybody want to say about T Sweat, I just thought that, like, when they start talking about character fits and scheme fits, that when they got rid of Jarvis last year, I kind of felt like, you know, the writing was on the wall for T Sweat, because there's a lot of talk about him losing weight and the front office not being happy with his work ethic by him starting this past season off on IR. But I'm not one of them people that's gonna sit here and bash Devondre Sweat because he's a player that I really like. All right, so let's look at it now. With T Sweat gone, you're not gonna have that nose tackle. It's gonna pretty much be two defensive tackles, and you're gonna have your stand-up edges. Ali Gay is still under contract, but it's gonna look like this: 6'5", 262. Across from Femi, you're gonna have Femi coming back for his second year. Jermaine Johnson and Femi will be your edges, and I can't imagine a world where the Tennessee Titans don't announce in this short period of time after that John Franklin Myers will be the other defensive lineman opposite of Jeffrey Simmons. And if we're talking about pre-draft, without touching the defense at all, without making any cuts, if we're saying that we coming into because Snead is still rehabbing, if we're saying we coming in and this is the baseline to start of what they want to do with the defense, Jermaine Johnson and Femi on the edge with Jalen Harrell and Truman Jones and Ali Gay. Maybe Jahar Ward comes back depending on what else they do in the draft. Now if you don't get Reese or Bain, you have a clear option to say the Tennessee Titans can do something very different at the fourth pick. Because this would solidify them up front. They could do something very different at the fourth pick if they decided to go with cutting Tony Pollard and putting Jeremiah Love there, or even they could even still keep Calvin Ridley and go after one of the receivers in the draft. You know, they got a lot more options now. It's gonna be interesting who they decide to go with at center. I expect them to bring Corey Levin back. And have a baseline of like that with Crenshaw, Dixon, and Oli Udoh as your backup tackles, and then just go in the draft and draft best player available and take as many shots as you want. But this is the baseline of the defense right here, and they still could go Caleb Downs and put Caleb Downs deep with Monty, and put Kevin Winston in the box and have Marcus Harris and say, you know what, they're gonna let Snead come back next season. They can start it like that and go in the draft and go in free agency. They got a lot. They're giving themselves a lot of options, and that's what you want to see. You want to see them be able to put themselves in position to give themselves as many options as possible, putting this team together. But what a blockbuster trade! I'm gonna hang on for a second to see what y'all think about some of these moves. Should get Love, then another wide receiver in the second or third. I think a really good move if they go Love would be trade back in the second and take a defensive back and then a wide receiver or vice versa, but then go get like a monster corner like Deshaun Wright or Tariq Woolen, Alontae Taylor. Go get one of those guys in free agency, or Jamel Dean. Like, they got a chance now to start putting it together, because what if the Titans surprise everybody and trade back at 4? Now that they don't have this huge need for edge, if they're able to trade back at 4 and do what the Browns did, getting future picks, and they still are able to get like Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Love or Carnell Tate or somebody like still around that top 10, and who knows, they may trade back and take Sonny Styles or somebody and completely throw us for a loop, because you're gonna need more linebackers and big nickels in Robert Saleh's defense. I told y'all leading up to the draft, we did the AI mock draft so many times that now when it comes down to it, so much has changed and going to continue to change up into the draft that we have no real clue. We still got to see the combine stars, the guy that runs a 4.2, the big guy that's 300 pounds that runs a good 40, somebody that kills the shuttle cone. Nick Harbor might go out there and run a 4.2 at 6'5" and shake up the draft. Like, it's a lot of stuff that still has to happen with your workout warriors as well as after the Senior Bowl. So they said, what a trade you guys got. In a rare time where you see a trade work out for both teams, the Titans desperately need help at edge, and the Jets need to replace Quentin Williams. He said the D tackles already ran. I ain't got to see none of it. I've been kind of busy. My kid was out of school today. He said, I like Sweat, but I get it. Titans need to go after the QB. Yeah, I think if T Sweat didn't lose weight, he's going to be a 2-down player in Robert Saleh's defense. You getting the most that you can get out of him by getting a high overall pick at edge. Because when you think about it, Arden Key was getting like $7-8 million a year. Draymond Jones was getting $9-10 million. If you're talking about having to spend, $10 million plus at that edge position, you getting a young guy that can grow with your defense that Robert Saleh already got history with, and you putting him opposite of Femi with Jeff, you kind of already showing how they want to attack the edge. They want them 6'5", 6'6", athletic enough to beat the tackle, but also can meet the tackle in the run game. I like it. You said draft a wide receiver in the third, but the way they treat in free agency, she is they still got moves to make. She, you know what I'm saying? Like this is gonna throw us for a loop if they do bring in John Franklin Myers. If they do land one of these big corners, it's gonna start changing to where the Tennessee Titans with 8 draft picks, picking at 4, 35, 66, and 101. You might get to see with the moves they're making in free agency. The Tennessee Titans literally could trade out of 4 or trade out of 35 and swing 5 times in the top 100, and then you be able to address offensive line, wide receiver, cornerback. You be able to hit multiple positions that way. And the way they did day 3 last year, if they trade back and take 5 picks in the top 100 And then when they get to day 3, if they still have 4 or 5 picks, seeing as Chim DK was the first pick of day 3, followed by Gunnar Helm and Alec Aomana, like if they have that type of run and still have over $100 million in cap space, like a lot can happen for the Tennessee Titans. CCB, man, huge trade today. Huge trade. And I was hoping that if they did trade Sweat, that they got good value back. And I think this is about as best as you can ask for, because if you had to trade him for a 4th or 5th round pick, we would lose value, and you're not guaranteed to get a talent like we got in Jermaine Johnson to fill a hole that was like a big void in the defense. I think they can start off the draft in free agency with a pure shell of a defense of the direction that they want to go in. I mean, you can't deny being able to say you now have 2 young edges in Jermaine Johnson and Femi, with Jeff in the middle. If you go get Franklin Myers and you is to like bring back Sebastian Joseph Day, they could even do another surprise. I know Peter Woods is looked at as the best defensive tackle out of Clemson in this draft. You know, what if the Titans trade back and draft the best defensive tackle in the draft? That would be the same as the Browns last year when they got Mason Graham and got a first round for the next next season, and plus another couple top 100 picks. It's a lot the Titans can do, and we've been saying it, but this is the end of Rand cooking, man. And I seen Rand on Titans radio the other day, and glad that he's finding success in his new role. I like Rand. It just didn't work out for him as GM in Nashville, and I seen him in the media going back and forth. But at the end of the day, like, this is the end of Rand cooking. Like, can we go back and say that almost everybody that Rand brought in is gone? Like, Lloyd Cushenberry is gone. T. Sweat is gone. Brownlee is gone. Jaquan Jackson is gone. Will Levis, if somebody gives a good offer for Will Levis, I think Will Levis will be gone. Malik Willis is gone. You just go down the line and think about all the players that came in. Josh Wiley, Colton Dowell. Peter Skoronski is finna get an extension, and Tajay is on his last year. I don't expect them to bring Tajay back. This is an interesting day for the Tennessee Titans. Man, what y'all think about this overall though? I think it's a good looking trade. I think when you look at the shell for the Tennessee Titans now, starting to have some direction of which they want to go. We still have to wait to see. Calvin Ridley, I expect to be a summertime situation. And L'Jarius Sneed, I think they just slow playing it because they got so much money in cap space. They don't have to make moves early, but this is definitely good to see my team being active. Tennessee Titans not always an active team when it comes to making moves, so it's good for us to be in the news for something good for a change. How you feeling about the trade? Just got off work. I think it was a win-win. I think the Jets was trying to replace Quinnen Williams. They got 2 first-round picks this year. They got a lot of moves that they need to make in Aaron Glenn's second year. And I think a new home for Jermaine Johnson was exactly what I was thinking when I said free agency for the Tennessee Titans, to get some players like Jalen Phillips, like Kayvon Thibodeau, Jermaine Johnson. Those were those top draft pick edges that came out around that time that are looking for their second contract. So a good chance to get him on a prove-it year and And if he pans out, you can extend him. If not, you had a player that Robert Sala's familiar with in his defense that already understands what he's supposed to do, and he's gonna play opposite of Femi, and it takes the pressure off of the top of the draft to where if Reese or Bain are off the board, you're not just forced to have to take Bailey. You could trade back. You could go Jeremiah Love, Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs. You could go Peter Woods. You could go in any direction you want to now that they've just don't have such a big hole, because Arden Key, Jahad Ward, Draymond Jones, all those guys are gone, and Femi was coming back off an injury, so now you got Jalen Harrell, Truman Jones, and Jermaine Johnson to go with Femi. So we got some young edges, and you can still add to that room. Y'all know I like Zion Young, Dennis Sutton. It's gonna be some good edge rushers. That's TJ Parker. It's gonna be some guys that's not just at the top of the draft that's gonna come out, and this gives the Titans like more flexibility to take best player available, and not just feel like, because we have such a big hole, especially if they go into free agency and you can't get Trey Hendrickson, you can't get boy Mafe, Adafio Way, Jalen Phillips, Kayvon Thibodeau, some of the names I've been throwing out. If you're not able to get those, getting a guy that's young that's gonna grow with the defense, I think it's a win-win trade. Not every time, you have a trade where like, oh, this team got fleeced, or oh, that team got fleeced. Like, I think it's a good situation. Yeah, I'm liking the moves. Say I like Romello Height over Bailey for real. I mean, in Robert Sala's defense, I like Keldrick Falk. You think about the 49ers, Bosa and Michael Williams. You think about the type of ends that he likes, those 6'5", 6'6", guys that can get in the pass lane, that can hit the edge, as well as stand up a tackle in the run game and set a hard edge. And that's one thing that Femi did really good last year. He was starting to get better at getting to the passer. But, you got those 6'4", 6'5", fast, physical guys on the edge. That just fits what the Titans are trying to do. And by trading a player that was a two-down player like T-Sweat, I just think it works out for us, but it works out for the Jets as well, because they got a big hole in the middle to fill up the space that Quentin Williams used to eat, and he's now in the Cowboys. So when you think about the Jets, Jets gave up a lot in Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, some of the players they let go, but they got some young talent. If they can figure it out at the QB position, they got two first-round picks this year, and they can really go in and do some damage and get themselves back in the fight in the AFC East. He said might have to call y'all the Tennessee 49ers. Nah, I mean, we made 2 trades with the Jets. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. we traded to the Jets, and we traded now we traded Tavondre Sweat. So we've made 2 deals with the Jets in the last 12 months. Definitely not the Tennessee Niners though, because we're really not getting no Niners players. We just got a coach that came from you. It's really more, we've been making more moves with the Jets. And, it still talks about Breece Hall and some situations like that. Man, some of these people be bored. Get out of here, cuz. But rare daytime stream for me. Y'all got any more questions, man? Drop them in the chat. I'm gonna take a half a second break. Y'all know I'm still sick, so I can clear out my throat. Hit that subscribe, like, comment, share. Tap into the daily uploads at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you missed the live streams, you got picture in picture. And if I don't get to any questions during the live streams or the pods, drop them in the comments. I'll make it part of the weekly mailbag. If you're following on the blue, smash those reactions. I know you're an OG. Hit that like, comment, share, tap into the daily content that is the shop. If you're new to the shop, you definitely should be tapped in on the green. No ads, up to 50 emotes free for just being a follower. You do not have to be a supporter to unlock. Picture in picture,
late night streams. Follow us on Kick. We also
Yeah, I'm feeling better, but I'm still congested. My voice ain't there. My energy level's not back. Still not eating normally. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to hammer the liquids, get rest, and still try to stay productive as much as possible. He say I think we go wide receiver in the third. I my thing is they got 4 picks in the top 100. If they trade back, they get 5. I still want to see what else they do in free agency. I still think it's a lot of moves to be made when we talking about having over $100 million in free agency, and that's without Snead. And really, they still got a lot of opportunity to make some moves with this roster before we even get to the draft. And I just hope they put themselves in their position where they can just take the best player off the board when they get to the draft. Because you need a good draft for development and for the future, and you need a good set of free agency period. The last couple free agent periods didn't work out for us. When you talk about Snead, Ridley, Cheeto, Awuzie, Lloyd Cushenberry, Cody Barton is so. You know, especially seeing as we traded Ernest Jones before we got him, and Azeez Alshire, 2 people that outplayed where Cody Barton was at right there. Really haven't found any success at free safety since moving Kevin Byard. He's up for free agency, and the cornerback position has been a turnstile in Nashville, as well as the wide receiver room with D-Hop, Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Van Jefferson last year, Tyler Lockett walking off the team, Quandre Diggs. You just go down the list of players that they brought in free agency that hasn't worked out. You just hope that's why I said the Titans should really be going after young guys, 24, 25, 26, coming into their second contract, of guys that you're going to sign them, bring them in, and they're going to play the remainder of Cam Ward's rookie deal. I just think that's the way you got to move and start putting some young faces on this defense. And if you want to go veteran in one position where it really don't matter, then that's cool. If you haven't been able to draft and develop, but I like to see all the free agents that they bring in be young players that can grow with this team and grow with this new system and this new culture. But I could see them going wide receiver in the second or third, because this is a pretty deep wide receiver class, I think. I just think it's going to be interesting to see, do the Raiders really go Mendoza, and do the Jets go Bain or Reese? Seeing as they got 2 first rounders, if they want to get a quarterback later, they can. And then what does the Cardinals do? Cardinals still have to make a move with Kyler Murray. Like what are the Cardinals thinking? The last time the Cardinals was in front of us, remember they did the trade with the Texans, and that's when they got Paris Johnson Jr., who was regarded as the best left tackle coming out of Ohio State in that draft. And that's when the Texans got C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson back to back. So history is the Cardinals may make a move right there at 3, right in front of us. So our draft board has to be flexible, and I don't think they're in a position to reach. I know that Bergonzi said he would take the player if the player was there, but you also got to think too. He's saying that, but being able to swing 5 times in the top 100, if somebody offers the right deal, and we stay close to the top 10. If we trade back and stay in the top 10, and the Titans pick up future picks, like, I think that could be the best case scenario. Because I still think even if they did that, they'll get a shot at Love, Downs, Carnell Tate, Mansour Delane. I think you'll get a shot at somebody. Peter Woods could be an option for the Titans now. Now that they traded T-Sweat and they got Jermaine Johnson, like, it's a real chance that you can see the Titans switch up and go Peter Woods, and then you put Peter Woods next to Jeffrey Simmons, the nastiest D tackle in this upcoming draft, with the way they opt to go. Who they gonna replace Kush with? Last year, who's been with the Tennessee Titans all this time is Corey Levin. It's not like Corey Levin is gonna be Tyler Lindenbaum, but when you see that the offense worked better when Corey Levin was at center than Kush, who haven't been able to stay on the field, I think it's a good chance that they bring Corey Levin back and then hit the draft at center, or they really did want to put Jackson Slater at center, and then they're gonna go after right guard in free agency or the draft. Then you bring, because Corey Levin can play center or guard, so I just think they're gonna have to bring him back either way this goes. But were they really saving Jackson Slater to put him at center? We'll figure that out real quick if they want to move him to center or they want to leave Jackson Slater at right guard. Tyler Lindenbaum's gonna want to reset the market at center, so I don't know if they want to spend $20 million on a center. But I know Dabo wants a center that can move, and I just think with Cushenberry and the injuries he's had, him not passing the physical again, it just might be a situation where they need somebody that can move at that center position. What do I think of the new logo? I love it. He said y'all can trade back out a 4, stay in the top 10, don't necessarily need to draft Love. Y'all can sign a running back in free agency to give y'all the most flexibility in the draft to go wherever you want to go. Yeah, that's why I said, like, if you trade back and you pick up and you got 5 swings in the top 100 and you stay in the top 10, like, you don't have to go any direction. If you sit, like, let's say they're at 8, and you know when they get to 8, they can go Peter Woods. They can, if Caleb Downs is on the board, if Mansour Delane is on the board, if Cardinal Tate falls, you know, like, they really could do whatever they want to do. They could go Sonny Styles. They could go in any direction they want, and I think that's the best, because if you trade it back out of 4, and let's say you got 2 swings in the second, and you could go with like best available wide receiver or best available corner, both in the second, you can really load up. He said, should the Titans pick Downs? If you look at the defense, now that Xavier Woods is gone, are they going to leave Kevin Winston deep, or are they going to move him into the nickel like Emin Ward? If they move Kevin Winston into the box like Emin Ward, and you put Caleb Downs back here, that killed 2 birds in 1 stone, because you got Amani Hooker and Caleb Downs deep, and then you got Kevin Winston in the box, and then that would leave Marcus Harris outside that can play outside, inside. You're still going to slow play Snead to see how his rehab is going and what his legal situation entails. And then you still go after a monster corner in free agency, and then you go after a corner in the draft. And I still think you bring back Darrell Baker Jr. And Elam, and let them be cornerback 5 and 6. Then you really got a lot of depth, and you got people that you can develop. You got guys that can come in and lock. You got a safety tool. If you want to put 3 safeties on the field, with that nickel wide, if they able to go, like, this gonna really turn us up though on defense. If they able to go get Franklin Myers like I thought and put him near, and they go out and get one of these corners like Dean, or they go get one of these corners like Tariq Woolen and Deshaun Wright or Lante Taylor. Imagine if they was able to do that. And like, you can't tell me if you drafted Caleb Downs here with Hook, Deshaun Wright, Marcus Harris, Winston Jr., you can slow play Snead and then bring Baker Jr. and Elam back as depth. Like, your defensive backfield just got way better, and there's more things they can do. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if they did go Downs, that's a way. On offense, if they wanted to go with Love, you cut Pollard and eat the $2 million. You got Love right there with Spears and Khalil Mullins. You know, Mason Kenzie's probably out of there. You slow play Reed. To answer your question, the thing about Red is, you save the most money if you cut Red in June if you do cut him. But you know, Dabo had Red in college. If Alec Pierce is off the board and Romeo Doubs, like if you're not able to get the wide receivers you want to get in free agency, and you're not forced to have to take Carnell Tate in the draft at the top of the first, you know, you could let him fully heal in draft and let Calvin really come back in a more healthy role next year with Jeremiah Love right there. It's a lot that you can do, because he be playing the Malik Neighbors role in New York. That's what I think, Hendricks. Let the draft fall. But if they do a good job in free agency, you know, like dream board for me, you know, dream board for me is saying, like, if you brought Cade Otton in with Gunnar Helm and DMR, if you was able to at least put your line out there and then like fill these places in the draft, like it's so many things. Like if you want to put Breece Hall right here, it's a lot of options that you can make that would keep you from being able to just be forced to take, you know. Then you go to those late round running backs like Nick Singleton and Henry from UTSA. You know, you go, you know, in that kind of Kyle Monunga draft stage at running back. You look for a running back later in the draft. I know a lot of people like the running back out of Washington. I think his name is Jonah Coleman. But I mean, if they do right in free agency, they're going to be able to have a lot of money free. And moves like they just made today with Jermaine Johnson is going to allow the Tennessee Titans to have like max flexibility coming into this draft, where they don't just feel like they got to reach in free agency or they got to reach in the draft. Like, you're right, the draft just needs to fall to them. Because, I mean, think about it, Hendricks. The Seahawks last year drafted Gray Zabel at interior guard first. And they took Arroyo, a tight end that wasn't going to start. But these wound up being people that just like build up your roster for the future. But yeah, really won't be moved until June. And then Snead, because you save the most money, and you get to see where he's at if you don't hit somebody in free agency. Especially if you're gonna have to eat money. And then Snead, I think they're gonna let the legal process spill itself out to save themselves. You don't want to be in no like liability type of role. Nathaniel Nixon, what up? Tighten up, Stevie B. Say he going after cheap players again. Who going after cheap players? I don't think Bergonzi is going after cheap players. I think he's just smart. And when you look at this roster of saying, let's not overpay and pay Cheeto $13 million. Let's not give L'Jarius Sneed $80 million. You know, you gave Lloyd Cushenberry $55 million. Dan Moore got $80 million. I just don't think the Titans are in a position, unless you finna go get like one of these monster corners that you know what you getting, or you getting one of these like, you have to get a monster, and they gotta want to come to your franchise. If not, you know, you're gonna be spending $28 million on Calvin Ridley. You're gonna be spending $80 million on Dan Moore. You're gonna be spending $80 on Snead, and you're not gonna get that much production. Like, they gotta be smart. Xavier Woods, Sebastian Joseph Day. We brought in some good free agents that was like solid players. I just think that's what they do. Who else do I predict getting cut or traded? When you go through here, looking at the defense, like Cody Barton is safe, but I ain't gonna say like fully safe. I think L'Jarius Sneed is on high risk of being the next person to go with his legal situation, and then Will Levis, as people are, if they're talking about giving Malik Willis $30 million, if Daniel Jones is not healthy, and Kirk Cousins is an option, Joe Flacco, when these teams start looking at Kyler Murray probably being the most talented quarterback that you can move to your franchise. Nobody's after Geno Smith. That's getting $38 million, $37 million next year. Texans don't want to let go of Davis Mills. The 49ers still have Mac Jones under contract. Some of the QBs that you want as a bridge or want to bring in. I mean, who's gonna go get Russell Wilson? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're looking at the options, like Will Levis, L'Jarius Sneed are two people I can see being the next two. Because I think Calvin Ridley, to get the most amount of money back, I think you got to wait to June. So I'd say Will Levis and L'Jarius Sneed is the next two that I could see being on the move. And my wild card would be Cody Barton. If Robert Saleh don't think he's the linebacker to play that Fred Warner role. Lyle, what's good, my boy? A lot of motion in the ocean in Nashville. Yeah, that's a new edge, Jermaine Johnson. So I would say those are the people. I pretty much said who I thought. The next person that probably could be cut though, to go along with that group, is Tony Pollard. If the Tennessee Titans want to go after Breece Hall, if they want to go after Jeremiah Love or another running back in the draft, you only eat $2 million. He's getting $9 million next year. I can see Tony Pollard, Will Levis, and Snead being the first three. Cody Barton is a gray area player. I think those are the people that's probably gonna get moved. If that answers your question, Ocho. I think those are the next people to go. I think the last person that would probably get moved though would be Levis or Ridley. You gotta let Levis get in camp and put some throws on tape in some private workouts, and you got to see if they're not able to get who they want to get in free agency. Like, if the Titans go out and get Jalen Waddle or Wan'Dale Robinson, I think then you would instantly probably be knowing that Calvin Ridley is going to be a June 1st cut. Because if they do that, then that takes pressure off the offense. I mean, what if you do this? What if the Titans put Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot and put Chim DK and Ellick on the outside, and then just left Restrepo back with Red until they figure out what they want to do with Red in June? Then you go into the draft, and now you can take best player available. They might go in the second round. There might be a Chris Bell or Denzel Boston or Chris Brazel or somebody that Jacoby Lane or somebody you get out to play outside. Then you give yourself a lot of flexibility offensively. So if the Titans go after like Wan'Dale or Jalen Waddle pre-draft, then that's gonna really change the board. Because if they like, let's say they was able to do something like that, and you bring in a Cade Otton, and they make one more move at cornerback, and you bring John Franklin Myers in, Titans draft board drastically changes into trade out of 4. It's like they just give themselves the option of saying, depending on what they do with this board in free agency, whether it's Wan'Dale Robinson or Waddle or Alec Pierce or Nashawn Wright, Alontae Taylor, Jamel Dean, John Franklin Myers, like I said, Tyler Lindenbaum, like whatever they do, they can make enough moves that by the time we get to the draft, truly nobody knows what the Titans want. And whether it's Caleb Downs or Carnell Tate or whoever it is, they'll be able to trade back and get the most amount of capital. I just think that the new edge is a wide 9 type. think it makes more likely to pick Bane. Yeah, I think so. Especially when you look at Jermaine Johnson and Femi, those like 6'5", 6'6", big, physical, fast, athletic, stand up edges, more of an attacking style. I think Bane, because he can play inside out, would be a good fit. Arvell Reese too, but there's no guarantee that Reese and Bane will be on the board at 4. Looking at what the Jets are doing, now that the Jets have got their defensive tackle filled up, their nose tackle, replacing Quentin Williams with T-Sweat, it's probably a for sure going conclusion that they're gonna go edge at some point in this draft. So like, do they take edge too? What do the Cardinals do? Like, Reese and Bane could be 2-3 off the board, and the Titans could be sitting there at 4 and could either really love a player or could trade back, stay in the top 10 and pick up future picks. I think the first 3 drafted though, since Dante Moore and Trinidad Chambers went back to school, I really think it's gonna be Mendoza, Reese and Bane. I think Mendoza, Reese and Bane come off the board 1, 2, 3. Unless, Cardinals or Jets surprise us and take Maui Noah. Last year, you look at the Jaguars trading up to get Travis Hunter. Will Campbell to the Patriots. Mason Graham to the Browns. Titans take Cam Ward. Giants went with Abdul Carter. So, like, I think it's going to be some moving and shaking going on in that top 10. Jets, Browns, Cowboys, Rams, all got 2 first-round picks. So, I think things can get spicy. He said, is Reese a guarantee for the Jets now after the trade? I ain't going to say a guarantee because I can't make a guarantee on nothing nobody's going to do in the draft. The draft always shocking all us every year. I really feel like Bane might fall a bit, giving us the option to trade back. I don't think Bane going to fall. Personally, I don't think Bane is going to fall. I personally don't think he's going to fall. I think Reese and Bane is going to go high. I think it's been a love fest with David Bailey, but he's the one I think could fall. Because you got to think about, it's like 10 new coaches in the NFL. Everybody's running different schemes. So the players that we've moved is because Daboll wants a more athletic center. Robert Saleh's going to want a more mobile defensive tackle. They're going to want bigger edges in the wide 9. Like, looking at what the teams are doing is going to dictate more so than just the player. Because, the player's got to be the right person and it's got to be the right scheme fit. And it's a lot of teams overhauling, and it's a lot of teams that feel like they one player away. So, like, I think we're gonna have some trading and shuffling around on that day 1 of draft day. I don't think the Titans take David Bailey. I think this trade today solidified the Titans not taking David Bailey. You're gonna have Femi and Jermaine Johnson, guys 6'5", 260. Femi's 6'4", 260. I just don't see them going to get a rotational edge. I think David Bailey will be a third down player in this defense. The same way T-Sweat is a first and second down player. I think you get right the opposite with Bailey if he was to draft him at 4. He said Bane arms got officially measured today. And I don't think that's going to affect his play in the NFL. He said all the Bailey hype. But Bailey had to be the right fit. Now that I don't think that that's an option for the Tennessee Titans, I can't see the Jets taking David Bailey over Arvell Reese. And nobody knows what the Cardinals are going to do. I fully expect the Cardinals to make a trade with Kyler Murray, like a blockbuster move. He said just one less drafted player, if you ask me. You can see the Cardinals taking Bailey. I really can't. I can't see the Cardinals taking Bailey. He said, "Go blow my nose." Man, I've been like this for like so long, bro. I'm over it, Ocho. I feel like I blow my nose 24/7 for the last 2 weeks, bro. I sound like the old Gucci Mane. I know I sound like the old Gucci Mane. Hey, do me a favor though, y'all. Like, I know I've been sick, so I ain't been able to do my daily YouTube post. But we back on the daily YouTube posting. Make sure in the mornings, man, y'all slide by. We had a really good mailbag conversation the other day with the future of console gaming and AI. That was my mailbag question. This shop talk obviously will go up in the morning, because with a trade like this, like nobody. I said I thought T Sweat would get moved. I didn't think it would be player for player. I thought he would have been moved and we would lose value on a draft pick. But it's really quite funny that the two players that were talented that they thought wasn't character or scheme fits for the new regime was Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Tavondre Sweat, and they both went to the Jets to be reunited. Do you think most fans are out on Philly? I don't think so. I think fans that understand football watch with all the chaos. Femi learning a new position was setting a hard edge and starting to learn how to get to the QB with it. If you think about it, like physically gifted, like Femi is physically gifted. You know what I'm saying? Pause. Like, go back and look at the tape after he went out in the Raiders game. Look at the next month of teams would just run right at the side that he was off of, because like Arden Key, Jihad Ward, Draymond Jones, like those guys are just trying to get after the QB. We really didn't have anybody really setting that hard edge. I think it was the Colts game after that. I think the Colts' first 5 plays ran right where Femi came off of, and they had massive success with Jonathan Taylor, if you go back and look at it. So I like Femi. I think that they're high enough on Femi that's why this move was made. Now you got Femi and Jermaine Johnson setting the edge.